Hello, everyone. Welcome to Living School Chemistry Winter Exhibition. I'm Brandon Curley.
And I'm David Dennis, and we'll be your hosts throughout the slideshow. Earlier in this semester, we learned that all we see in the universe is made of atoms, and that these atoms are made of protons, neutrons, and electrons. The protons and the neutrons are located in the middle of the atom, called the nucleus, and the electrons move around the atom nucleus.
Yeah. The electrons are responsible for causing atoms to connect with one another. Many elements in nature are made of atoms that want to have eight valence electrons, so they share or transform electrons to make this happen.
For example, in this slideshow, we see that sodium gives an electron to chlorine, so that both can have 8 valence electrons. This causes opposite charges between the two, which makes them pull together and form sodium chloride, which is just a fancy chemical name for table salt.
In this example, we have 2 oxygen atoms with each having 6 valence electrons, and notice that when they come together, each shares 2 valence electrons. Now they both have 8. This is the form of oxygen that we breathe and use to break down our food.
And in this example, oxygen is receiving its 2 valence electrons from 2 separated oxygen atoms. If you haven't guessed by now, this will form a water molecule.
We also spent a large amount of time learning how many of the changes we see in our world are the result of physical changes and chemical reactions. Let's take a look at hydrogen and oxygen react to form water. In this slide, the hydrogen and oxygen molecules are separate. When millions of molecules are close together, they start to collide. If they collide with enough kinetic energy, they break apart and rearrange into something new, in this case, water.
Speaking of water, we carried out an experiment that involves physically changing solid water or ice into gaseous water or steam. We observed that while substance change states, that temperature remains in the same even when energy is constantly being added to them. So energy is not just about movement, it's about storage. And that's exactly what we focused on in the remaining parts of this semester, how energy is stored in food and released through a bunch of reactions in our body.
In order to live long, high-quality lives, the type of energy storage we allow into our body matters a ton. Depending on the quality of our food, we will experience favorable or unfavorable reactions to our body. To ensure we are filling our bodies properly, we conducted our own research about what chemicals we allow into our body and how much we allow.
So as a final project, we developed our own 7-day meal plans. Using information from myplay.org, we developed recipes that provide a good balance of all the nutrients our body needs. Then we used a food database to determine exactly what chemicals these nutrients are made of.
We are all familiar with carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, but did you know that they are all not the same? There are many types of chemical compounds that fall into each category. Using the food database, we researched which chemicals were present in each food so that we can create our own food labels.
And that wraps up what we learned in chemistry this year. Thank you all for listening.